So, Crisis on Infinite Earths. We don't have a lot of images or anything we're going to show here. Um, Crisis, we are 3 episodes in. I'm going to. I'm not going to throw out a bunch of spoilers, I don't think, because if you haven't seen it, it's worth going back and revisiting it. I will say this. A lot of people, before they started this event, were kind of commenting. They went, it's really cool they're doing this, but it's a shame it's on the CW, lamenting the fact that the CW shows are not very good. The first episode of Crisis, I liked, but I was a little concerned with. It wasn't bad or anything. It was just sort of, I don't know. The second episode was better, and the third episode, like I said, it keeps getting better and better with each episode. They have a lot they're trying to do in 5 parts, and they have a lot of characters. So I'm going to cut them a ton of slack. There's some characters that are probably totally unnecessary, but they have in this because they come from the classic Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline. And they've kept some interesting elements, and they've introduced some interesting ideas. Overall, now that we're basically up to essentially sort of like their winter break until they come back, I'm really enjoying it. I really, really liked. I liked some things I didn't think I was going to like. The Kevin Conroy Batman is a little different than what I was expecting they were going to do. They have successfully subverted my expectations on where I thought we were going to go with the story and what we were going to do with some of the characters. For example, when I kind of had the Kevin Conroy thing kind of spoiled for me by accident because I'm watching these on the CW app instead of watching them, real time on television. And so I kind of had that spoiled for me, and I was like, I really don't like that. But Kevin,
which part did you have spoiled?
Kevin Conroy's Batman is a little different than what I was expecting.
Okay.
I can talk spoilers if we want to throw up a spoiler warning. I know you don't really care about spoilers, but his Batman is a little different than what I was expecting. I was hoping he was just going to be a straight up Kingdom Come version of Batman, but that's not what they've done. It's a little different than that. But Kevin Conroy did such a good job of selling it to me. I bought into it, and I didn't have a lot of issues with it. And I was kind of able to roll with it.
Hey, Dave, I did want to give some attention to some that joined the chat here. I believe she was talking about Wonder Woman. This is Erica Graves.
Yeah.
And she was saying that she loves a good backstory, too. And I was asking for a little bit of clarification. And she just said, I just like finding out how and why people are the way they are. And I'm guessing that was in regards to Cheetah and some of that other stuff we were talking about. But I wanted to give her some attention there.
Well, and I was going to say, I know Erica, and we had been chatting, and I told her that she might like Batwoman because all Batwoman is backstory. All it is backstory and revenge. And because it's interesting because I have watched a lot of the CW shows to get my backstory basically in order. And on Crisis, the first episode, one of my complaints would be with it is that we're spending a lot of time trying to catch people up on things that if they've been watching the shows, they kind of already know. And if they're trying to give context to people that are coming in just for the Crisis event, I don't think they really care. There's a lot of time spent on some stuff. I'm like, good, can we move on? It's like, we get it,
Well, I will say, I personally have always liked the origin stories. Like we were talking about Wonder Woman earlier and how her origin story has changed even in the comics, like we talked about the New 52, but from different mediums. We were talking about television, film, and things like that. There was the classic origin of her being made out of clay. Now they've changed that, at least in the movies, where now she's the daughter of Ares, which I think is kind of interesting and weird. But I can accept it. But I like origin stories. I've always liked origin stories. I think Batman's origin story is obviously classic. Superman's origin story is classic. Spider-Man's origin story is classic. And I realize sometimes people get sick of hearing them over and over again, but I really don't. I like the origin stories,
Right. And but I do want to single, since we got this picture here, I do want to single out some of the really interesting performances, the characters I'm enjoying the most, seeing translated live action. The actor that they've got playing the Monitor, I really like him. He actually had an interesting moment of sort of his backstory came out actually in the third episode of Crisis, and he delivered a really riveting performance. I was quite struck by him, and you finally get a sense of his motivation of why he's doing this, and I think he's doing a good job. The other two standouts, I'd have to say, the way that they bring Black Lightning into this was interesting. And I really like that actor because of the CW shows, the ones I'm enjoying the most, Black Lightning, I'd have to say, is probably the best for me personally. And then I've really been enjoying Batwoman. I was kind of surprised at it. First couple episodes were a little hit and miss with me, but and there's some stuff I'm not thrilled with, but I've actually been quite enjoying Batwoman. But Black Lightning, I really like the role that he played and kind of how they brought him in. John Wesley Shipp as the 90s, to me anyway, the classic Barry Allen Flash. He was great in this. And the scene with him I thought was well done. A little hard to watch, but it was well done. But the big standout is Brandon Routh back. I'm sorry, Brandon Routh back as Superman. His Superman scene where he takes on the Supergirl version of Superman was pretty fun. And he just embodies that classic version of Superman so much. I mean,
he looks so swelled up. He looks really good in this picture that we have up.
Man, some of the
looks
shots,
massive, you know.
Some of the flying shots of him. I mean, he is the classic Superman we grew up with in this story. And it's not exactly Kingdom Come. It is a little bit, but it's very much the Chris Reeve. They play the classic Chris Reeve music for him when he gets introduced and stuff. I mean, it's cool. I'd have to say that's been my favorite part of this is watching him reprise his role as Superman. And that's why I didn't particularly like the cliffhanger at the end of the third episode, but I don't want to get into spoilers. But if you're interested in checking out Crisis, the first episode's a little bit of a slog because they give us a lot of melodrama that I don't know is necessary to set up what's going on. But beyond that, I thought the shows leading up to the Crisis event were good for all the different shows I was watching. I didn't watch any of the Legends stuff. But I did watch all the Batwoman shows leading up to this, which I liked what they did with Batwoman because she basically just gets dropped into the middle of this. She doesn't know who any of these people are. It totally makes sense because the Batwoman show has got nothing to do with what's happening with Crisis, and her initial reaction, what's going on, is pretty priceless. But I've been enjoying it. It's not the greatest superhero television I've ever seen, but I've really been enjoying it, and it's so fun. And like I said, it's like this is such a titanic task because they're not even done, and the sheer number of characters. I will throw this one spoiler out. I didn't even realize they were going to do it, but the Birds of Prey characters showed up from the TV show.
Really?
And yeah, the Huntress is on there, and then they have Babs is on there for just briefly, like over like a comm link kind of thing. Sad to say they don't make it. But anyhow, I was when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, that's a pretty big, deep dive.
Yeah.
And they're not done. And I was, I'm really curious to see what they do with these last two parts coming up in January, because I'm kind of hoping, fingers crossed, that they've cast a stuntman to wear the Keaton Batman outfit and we actually see him in the background fighting somebody for half a second. Because it'd be pretty cool to see some different versions of Batman actually fighting along with Batwoman in kind of a fun little sequence. I'm not sure if we're going to get that, but I think there's a slight possibility. So we'll see. But like I said, I've been enjoying it. So
that's cool. And Erica's acknowledging that she does need to see Batwoman. I haven't seen it either, Erica. So I haven't really been keeping up on any of the CW shows, honestly. But
I
listening
think
to Dave does make me more interested in checking them out. So
I think Erica would definitely like Batwoman because um, it's a lot of drama. It's a pretty twisted backstory for between two of the characters and what's happening there, and sort of the torn allegiances and loyalties and stuff. I mean, and like I said, if you like backstory, that's all Batwoman is. All Batwoman is drama and backstory and revenge. And Batwoman actually has some pretty impressive martial arts stunt sequences in it. I felt like that in the first episode of Crisis when they set her up. I'm not sure who directed the first episode or how much time they spent on it, but I was a little let down with her initial sequence because on her regular show, man, those sequences are amazing. The last episode leading up to Crisis, she's got these baton staff things that she's using now, and the way it was shot, it was almost like in silhouette, and she's going through like this building, kind of room to room kind of thing, and it was pretty impressive. So. But I guess that's sort of my take on Crisis on Infinite Earths. If you're interested in this at all, definitely watch it. It's a lot of fun. They're very respectful to all these different characters, which I was very happy with. And I think they do the best with the budget and the time constraints that they have to try and give all of them kind of their due. I've been really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to the finale in January.
what do you think the comic fans will think of this? The people that are big fans of the comic book.
I think the hardcore fans of the Crisis comic book, I think some people will see it for what it is and enjoy it, and then some people will just outright probably hate it. Just because they kind of take some liberties kind of here and there, but they kind of had to, you know. I don't know if and I was surprised at some of the stuff that they kept pretty true. There was this sequence that I was kind of shocked that they kept almost right from the comic. I was like, wow, I can't believe they kept that, but that's interesting. And then there's kind of some things here and there, you know, that I know will really bug people. But I mean, overall, like I said, I've enjoyed it for what they're doing. I mean, in addition to being an adaptation, sort of, I'm using air quotes, you can't see them, sort of adaptation of Crisis, the thing I think is really neat about this too is this is very much a salute to DC Comics on television, and
Yeah.
you know, what they've done over the years, and as well as a lot of the classic movies. The Tom Welling sequence, the Smallville sequence, I thought was really good, and I really enjoyed seeing Tom Welling back as Clark, even if it was for a brief moment. And then the way that they kind of explained it, it kind of made sense, and it worked. I didn't have any issues with it at all. But no, like I said, overall, I've been enjoying it. And like I said, with it being a salute to DC Comics on TV, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. I'm not sure if it's going to give me the sort of shock and awe moments I was hoping for. And they have kind of taken some detours I wasn't expecting and spent some time on some things I probably wouldn't have spent time on. But overall, I've been really enjoying it. So,
Right on. You do the way you talk about it does make me interested in seeing it. Like I said, I haven't been following many of the CW shows. I've seen a few episodes of Flash, a couple episodes of Supergirl. But yeah, you definitely make me more interested in seeing it personally.
I really think you would really enjoy the Superman sequence in at the second one. I don't know how you'd feel about what they did with Kevin, but I think you'd definitely like the Superman stuff in the second episode, and I think you'd really like the Flash stuff in the third one. They gave a character a really cool moment, and it was just cool to see him back. So I think you'd like the second and the third one. That's just me.
Right on. I'll definitely need to check it out. I keep saying I'm going to get the app and check some of the stuff out. And I was mentioning off the air that I used to get the CW over the air on my antenna, and I don't get it anymore. It really irritates me. But yeah, I need to check out the app, and then I guess go that route. So are we good on Crisis?
I think so. I think so.